Today we're going to be taking a look at Drakon. It's a game by Tom Jolly, the designer of Wizwar. It's produced by Fantasy Flight. I think it's a hard-to-find game because it's sort of out of print right now, but it's a lot of fun. You're going through a dungeon that's sort of like a maze with different abilities on the tiles. You're trying to find dragon's gold before the dragon eats you. Let's take a look. In Drakon, you play an adventurer who's ventured with your adventuring party into Drakon's lair in search of gold. But Drakon has shut off all the exits and you can't get out. Drakon has decided to make a game of your predicament, and the first one to collect 10 gold gets to escape her lair. But the rest of the adventurers get eaten. So it's become every man for himself as you try to scrounge and get gold in this tile-laying dungeon game. Each player is going to get 4 tiles that'll make up their hand, and they'll use these tiles to play during their turn. During your turn, you have 2 choices. You can either play a tile or move your character, and you move your character on tiles that are placed. So, say you get a tile that has a gold symbol on it. You could play that tile, and that would be the end of your turn. Then one of your opponents could step on it and gain a gold, or you could step on it yourself and gain a gold. Each time someone steps on a different tile, you're going to be gaining that ability. So if each player steps on the gold, they'd each get a gold. The gold in the game has different denominations on it, so you have 1s, 2s, and 3s. So 2s are the most common. There's about 5 3s and 5 1s in there. So you're trying to get 10 gold before your opponents can and figure out ways to place these tiles so that you get the most advantage out of them while your opponents get worse tiles. So there's all sorts of different tiles in this game that you can play. We've already talked about the gold one, which is the main one for winning the game. There's a lot of them in the deck. There's also ones that let you destroy a tile when you step on it. So you place this on in the dungeon, and you step on it, and the nice gold tile that your opponent has placed gets destroyed and goes to the discard pile. There's also the Drakon Tile. This is the one that moves Drakon, and as soon as you place it, you can place Drakon on any unoccupied square where there's no other players, and Drakon's going to start there. Then anytime a player steps onto the Drakon Tile, they get to move Drakon 3 spaces. If Drakon ends on a player, they're going to get sent back to the start and lose one of their gold. So their gold could be a denomination of 1, 2, or 3, so if you randomly get rid of their 1, it's not as big of a deal as if you randomly get rid of their 3. So there's a little bit of a chance and luck there in that. There's also the escape tile. If you get stuck somewhere in the dungeon that's not that helpful, you can play the escape tile and your character automatically moves there. So if your opponent has built a big old gold engine that's just a circle of gold going around, you can place that tile and your adventure will automatically move to that tile. There's also the feather lift. It's like a little elevator thing. You can place it, and when an adventurer moves on it, they will move to a different area in the dungeon. You can just place the tile like you're placing it for the first time. Also, anytime you place a tile, the only rule for placing them is to make sure that the arrows don't point back at each other. So you can place a tile like this. You're just not allowed to place any like that. So just make sure you're paying attention when you're placing your tiles. There's all sorts of different tiles in the game that do all sorts of different things. Things that let you steal clockwise or counterclockwise. Ones that let you force a player to move onto this tile. So you don't necessarily have to put tiles for you to move onto. You can put tiles that are forcing your opponent to go a specific direction. Maybe they set up a good engine to get gold for themselves, and now you just screwed it up by forcing them to go a different direction. The game comes with player sheets that show all the different abilities of the different tiles, and there's one for each player. This game goes from 2 to 6 players and plays in probably about 30 minutes. Sometimes games are less, sometimes games are more. It's a very nice little light filler, and I will tell you what I think about the game next. So I think Drakon's a nice little filler game that is a lot of fun to play when you're in between games. It doesn't take too long, and it's a real nice short game that you can play with 2 to 6 players. So it really kind of varies on the size. Turns really don't take that long because all you're either doing is either playing a tile or moving a tile, as long as you don't have someone who's questioning too long on what they should place. I was really trying for a long time to find this game, and I finally found someone who was willing to trade it on Board Game Geek, and I've really enjoyed it a lot. Played it a bunch of times, and I think it's definitely worth looking for and trying to find. Hopefully Fantasy Flight will reprint it. It's definitely a lot of fun. I think you should check out Drakon.